Good afternoon, my two brothers. Well, we're here for our second show. I'd like to thank everybody that subscribed
Woof,
to our
woof, woof,
first
woof, woof.
show. And normally, and we really do appreciate it. And we got lots of really good comments and nice comments, and over 107 views, which was a lot more than we ever expected. How are you today, Stu?
Oh, tickety boo, mate. Quite happy today. Yeah, I'm in a good mood, which makes a
And you,
change.
Martin?
I'm good at the moment. Not looking forward to 5 o'clock, but
Yeah, no more. Oh, God.
It's great. Listen, we are going to talk about the England team, actually, but we're going to talk about England, West Ham players that have played for England and those we think should have got a cap that never did. But before we go, it looks like, Martin, that Mr. Matthias Fernandes is going to Spurs for 85 million. You got any opinions on it? Or if we need the money, let him go and let's try and knock it off this money we owe. What's your opinion, Martin?
I think he's an half-decent player, but I think we've pulled Spurs' pants down, to be totally honest. I've got no affinity with the player. He hasn't been with us long enough for me to get too attached to him. So, we're going to make a huge profit on a player that's been with us for 12 months. So, thanks for what little you did with us, but, happy days.
I agree, Stu. Sorry,
Yeah.
Martin.
Yeah, much the same as what Pups just said. Like, you know what I mean? He ain't been with us long enough to, like I say, get an affinity really with him. And if it's true, I think you said earlier when it done you that he said like he'd rather gone to Man United, but if we can get more money for him, he'd go to Spurs just to give West Ham more money. So if that's true, good on the lad.
Yeah, I agree. Look, he's gone down with the last two clubs he's played for. They've both gone down from the Premier League. For me, he was in and out of games.
Down Spurs next season.
They're spending early, Spurs. Yeah. They are going in and getting their business done early. But he was in and out of games for me. He had good games. There was other games where he was lost. I know some people are going to go look at his partner he had sitting next to him in the centre of midfield. I wish him all the best. Good luck to him for whatever he does in the future. But let's go back, guys, to West Ham players. Well, I'm going to read out the roll of honour, and how many caps they've got. Some of these players we won't know because even me and Stu weren't alive in 1911. To start off, our first one was that Mr. George Webb got 2 caps. Vic Watson, I think, is our record goal scorer. 5 caps in 1923. I'm not going to go through the years. I'll just tell you how many they got. Then we got a Jack Trisden, got 23. Billy Moore, 23. Ted Uffen, 23. Billy Brown, 23. Jimmy Ruffles, I remember that name, 26. Stan Carl, 27. Jim Barrett, 1 cap. A lot of players got 1 cap. Then Gordon, 14. Jackie Morton, 1. Ken Brown, 1. And then all the players will start coming along. So Bobby, at one point, held the record, didn't he, with 108. Johnny Byrne, 10. Should have got more. Jet Hurst got 49. Martin Peters only got 33, Can't understand that. I thought he'd have got a lot more. Frankie Lampard Sr., travesty. He only ever got 2 caps. Sir Trev, mate, when I was younger, right, I had on my wall in my bedroom a Blondie poster and a Trevor Brooking poster. And when I used to do what young boys do in their bedclothes at the night time, I don't know if I was doing it looking at Trevor Brooking or looking at the Debbie Harry poster. I don't know. To this day, I still don't know. Then we got a Brooking 47, Alan Devonshire. I would come to him. He only got 8. Alvin, another absolutely ridiculous. Alvin Martin only got 17. Paul Goddard, one of my heroes, scored in the League Cup fight, only got 1. TC, when he was playing for us, only got 3 caps. Rio was 10. Ian Wright got 2 caps while he was still playing for us. Stuart Pearce got 2 while he was playing for us. Lampard Sr. got 2. Joey Cole got 10. Michael Carrick got 2. David James, 17. Remember, these are only caps when they was playing for us. They obviously got more going elsewhere. Trevor Sinclair 1, Konchesky 1, Kieran Dyer 1, Upson got 14 while he was playing for us. Dean Ashton 1, and we all wished he never ever got connected with the England squad, don't we? Rob Green, 13 caps. Andy Carroll got 1, Stuart Downing got 1, Cressy got 3. I'm glad Cressy got 3. Joe Hart got 4, Deck got 43, Lingard got 5, and then we got Jared got 22. Now the name that is the omission from that list, guys. And by the way, guys, that is a roll of honour for all the players that represented West Ham playing for England. Brilliant. But the one that was missing on there, for me,
he wore the number 4 shirt.
Without doubt. was Billy Bonds. Do you think Billy Bonds deserved an England cap, Stu?
Oh, without doubt, mate. Without doubt, yeah. Yeah, and I think he should have been an England captain as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Not just played for England, but I think he should have been England captain. You know, why he was never picked, I don't know. You know, he always give his all when he come on that park, and he was a good player. He really was a good player.
Yeah, I agree. I think with Billy, when you look at Bonzi, do you think, Martin, like that? Like if you look at the squads now, like a lot of the squads do get based around the teams that are quite high up in the league, don't they? You know, I'm not knocking certain wingers we've got on the right. There's no way they should have gone in front of Jared Bowen. Believe me, none of the two of them are on the right wing. I won't mention it, but I do think if Billy Bonds played for a team that was one of those teams that, you know, in the 70s, 80s, higher up the league, your Arsenals, your Leeds at the time, weren't Man United then, was it really? Your Ipswiches, who was up there at the time, and we'll come back to them when we talk about Alvin. Do you think he'd have got more caps if he played for them, mine? It's just that we was a mid-table team that sort of went up and down through the leagues. Do you think Billy would have got more if he played for a better team?
Potentially. I just think he was a really underrated player. I don't think that people saw him in the same way that we saw him. Which is that to their loss, and you know, I can't quite understand why some people don't get caps, and I think you're right. I think it's I mean, even going into like the nationals for today, why some people get called ups over others, I don't know. You know, that young Newcastle kid who plays left back, Lewis Hall, is it?
Yeah.
You know, for me, probably one of the best left backs in the country, English, and yet we haven't got a recognised left back in the squad. So they say bullshit baffles brains. I don't understand it, but I do think that there's always been a bias towards the top clubs.
Yeah, I agree. Well, there was a certain left back that Stuart was one. As I said, Stuart earlier on, pick 3 players you think was a travesty that we never got for England, and one of Stu's players was a left back. Tell us why you think that left back should have got a game as an England left back, and would he been on the pitch at the end of the game in most games? That's probably one of the reasons he didn't play. Go on, Stuart.
No, Dixie, mate. I think at the time Dixie was one of the best left backs, English left backs out there at the time, and the reason he wasn't picked, oh God, I can't. Evans, was it Roy Evans? I think was in charge, or something. Oh no, who was it? Anyway, I've got it. It says it in Dixie's biography. He played for the England B, right, B team, but he used to have his hair cut short, not bald, just cut short. And he was told that if he grew his hair, he would be picked to play for England. Right? It was because he looked like a thug. But what he done is he went straight to the changing rooms and shaved his head bald and said, "Fuck you, I don't want to play for England if that's how you're going to treat me." But I think he was one of the best left backs we had at the time, and it was a shame that they couldn't look past the fact that he was a hard tackling player. So what? He had short fucking hair. You know what I mean? So what? You know, there you go. It's old boy network. It's always been the old boys network with England, and it always will be. Who can grease somebody's arse and slip their cock in? They get a fucking game. You know what I mean?
I do think, though, I think a bit like England managers, you've got to have a certain amount of decorum with you. And if you've got any baggage, look what happened. You know, eventually Venables had to go. Look what happened with Allardyce. They set him up, didn't they? But I think you had to have, have no baggage. They was always worried about, if you had anything going on off the pitch, and it was going to be a stigma with England. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that they didn't go with Dixie. I mean, I used to follow England. There was a time come round at one point where I went every England home and away game for about 5-6 years. I remember being on a train, and at the time, Sir Bobby Robson, Sir Bobby, God bless him, I wished he could have been our manager. I think we'd have been an absolutely amazing side in. But He was manager of Ipswich, and probably a lot of people won't remember it, but they was like near the top at the time. You know, they come second to Liverpool, who had absolutely had an amazing time. They were the Man City at the time. And they won the UEFA Cup that year under that team. And they had a couple of centre-backs. And Terry Butcher, I'll give Terry Butcher, right, I think he probably just got in front of Alvin. But when we used to watch Alvin over Upton Park, he was like a Bonzi character. He had that scary look, didn't he? He had certain eyes, Alvin, that he would sort of go like that and just give people that look. I remember having an argument with these two guys on a train. And, and I went, mate, how on earth? And they had a pairing at Ipswich. And one was called Terry Butcher and one was called Russell Osman. I think Russell Osman become a good player because he had Terry beside him, Terry Butcher. But I do think Alvin was another player that should have easily got 50 caps. Do you remember much of Alvin, Martin?
Yeah, I was. Alvin was at the tail end when I first went, so I can't remember. What was it? He got 17 caps or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got 17. Alvin, yeah.
Yeah. For me, he was a fantastic centre half. I liked him and Gailey. Thought they were both decent centre halves. But how he didn't get more, again, I can't explain it. He's for me, he was, he was hard as nails. Alvin really was, and the kind of person you want at the centre of your defence, without a doubt.
Yeah, I look at it and I look back at it. I mean, Frankie Lampard. I think Frankie Lampard Senior, by the way. I think some of the West Ham fans treated him as a bit of a joke. I said I used to go down the west side as near as I could towards the away fans end I think he was like a lot of the West Ham fans didn't rate his style of play. Arders now, got stuck in, but he was another one like deep down, only 2 caps. Frankie Lampard, up and down, up and down, up. They talk about people that went up and down, scored the occasional goal, had a great shot at him as well, Frankie Lampard. He was another player for me that I thought should have got more caps, Stu. Did you rate Frankie Lampard, Stu?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah. No, you're right. He should have had more caps. Yeah, definitely. But whether it's because I'm a West Ham fan or what, I don't want to turn my bloody sound off. Phone's going to keep going off otherwise.
It's not that we're West Ham fans. Like, we look at people, when we... Yeah, when we sign...
Sometimes, mate, I think it is because we look at our players differently to what everybody else does, yeah? We see them week in, week out. We see what they can do, and other people don't. It's like when you asked me earlier about 3 West Ham players that I thought should have had a cap who didn't, not only Dixie and Bonzo, but I said Ian Bishop. Now, how many other people would have picked Ian Bishop to play for England unless you was a West Ham fan around that time and you watched Bish play? You watched how he run on fucking midfield. He was a midfield general, but he never got a look in. Why is that?
Yeah, but do you think, Stu? Do you think in '92 Sky came in, didn't we? And we got to see more games. If we go back to like Bonzi's era, when Bonzi started and Brooklyn, we'll come to Brooklyn a bit later. We relied on watching little clippets of Match of the Day. Invariably, we'd be on at the end, wouldn't we? We'd get the goal and missed, And then the big match, if I can remember rightly about big match, then he used to show 2 games. Was it 2 games they used to show? And they'd show like 20 minutes of a game and might even show 1. You didn't get that, the television weren't there so people could look at how good players was. Yeah. And when Sky come in, everything got televised, everything got analysed. And I think, some of our players, obviously England had scouts, England had scouts that used to go around, that whoever was manager couldn't go around and look at all the games. But do you think that had a lot to do with it, Martin? And let's bring up Liverpool, for instance. Do you think a lot of their players, because they was at the top of the league and they were winning a lot of things, do you think a lot of the scouts went and watched their games, and that's maybe another reason why we didn't have more? Bearing in mind, I think we got 44 players. I think Spurs had 81 players that have played for England. There's the most. I think then it goes Arsenal, Man U. But do you think the TV had a lot to do with it then in them times, Martin?
Oh, Potentially, mate. You know, what I do know is that, you know, the smaller or so-called smaller clubs, you know, a lot of the players didn't get international games. You know, it was the bigger players. It was the people that were getting the trophies, that were in the competitions, that were going to be winning things. Those were the players that were getting called up more often than not, weren't it?
Yeah.
And like you said about, like what
Yeah.
you said about, you know, the amount of scouting that you know, if England were to send people to Upton Park to watch Billy Bonds play, you're not telling me that somebody who's being paid to scout people and to see if they can come in and do a job wouldn't have seen something in that boy.
Yeah, I agree.
So I find it hard to believe that people would have been there.
Yeah, I do think you're right. I mean, it's hard to go back and work out how they pick players. But when we see them, now this is going to be a question, right? I brought this up with my son the weekend. And you know the level we play at, right? Let's just say the Premier League as it is now. Because I want to talk about Alan Devonshire. When Alan Devonshire come into the West Ham side, bear in mind, I always said Trevor Brooking really was my all-time hero, I think. You know, even though I like the Di Canios and a lot of players since, but Brooking will always be my all-time hero. And when Devonshire come in, I thought he is going to be an England international for years, you know. And obviously I said I used to go and watch watch England. When he went into the England team, he could have been coached out of them. We spoke about this before, you know, when they spoke to Rio Ferdinand about the golden generation, why didn't you win anything? And he said we were set up wrong. And maybe he was asked to do a different thing, a bit like what's happening with Anthony Gordon, because I think it's making Anthony Gordon look bad at the moment because Tuchel has got him coming back too much. But when I watched Alan Devonshire, by the way, we got from, I think it was Sapple, wasn't it? For $5 grand, by the way.
$5 grand, yeah.
He didn't have it. Do you think, right, that when you go, say like we say, we don't get players from the Championship and bring them up to the Premier League because the level is just not good enough, and you know they're not good enough in the Prem. Do you think when you come, let's say from the old First Division, which it was when we had Alan Devonshire, when they go to international level, that jump up is just too big for them? It's another level, and they're just not good enough, Stu. Or do you think Devonshire really was good enough and just never got a fair crack at the whip?
Yeah, no, that's exactly it. But that's with my West Ham goggles, mate. He never got a fair crack at a whip, in my eyes. You know what I mean? And it's been the same down through the decades, with West Ham. Why? I don't know, because we have produced some fucking good players over the years. You know, and then if they go on somewhere else, then they have a fucking cracking England career. Why wasn't it? Why couldn't they have played for England when they were at West Ham? Because I just don't think West Ham has got. We're a big club. We are a big club. I know we've been relegated. We are a big club, but I just don't think to the powers that be, people like the FA and it, we're not. They don't look at us like that. They don't. They look at us. Oh, they're just a tin pot East End club next door to Leyton Orient. You know what I mean? Blah 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 blah. You know, I just don't think they look at West Ham the same way they look at fucking Lagooners or the Scousers or
No.
Or
I agree on that.
You know, I don't think they look at West Ham the same way. I really don't, and it's a shame because it ain't just West Ham. There are other teams out there that have got some fucking good players, English players, but they don't get a look in.
Yeah, but we've had players that's come up, Stu. I remember when Wolves had a
why have we not, right? Why have we not, as Martin alluded to earlier, why have we not got a fucking recognisable left back out there this year? Why have we not got a left back out there? And Martin said, we've got one, not a West Ham, but there's a left back out there. Why wasn't he picked?
Could have took Luke Shaw, couldn't he, as well as back up for him?
You know, it's. I think Tuchel has totally. I know we're getting on to England a bit here, but some of his choices for the squad this summer are baffling. Have baffled me. They really have baffled me. I never wanted a German in charge of England anyway. Well, apart from one. There's one German I wouldn't have minded, and that's Klopp.
Didn't want any. I wanted an England manager.
If that's it, apart from that, I'm stalwart. Whatever country you are, your manager should come from that country. Full stop. You know.
I just think, Stu, with him, like when Capello was in charge, apparently, yeah, but he was such a disciplinarian, apparently, Capello. And there was such unhappiness at the World Cup, because he was too disciplinarian. And apparently Tuchel is the same. Tuchel, whatever you want to call him, he's quite a disciplinarian. Someone said to me the other day, maybe that's a good thing. Martin, I threw this on Stu earlier on.
Yeah, but Venables let them go out on the piss and look at what happened then.
Yeah, we should have won Euro 96. We
in the sun with them all fucking sitting in fucking chairs, pissed, fucking gusting, fucking oil, whatever. You know what I mean? So there's a fine line. There's a fine line that's got to be drawn.
They're young boys. At the end of the day, they're young boys. Martin, before I want to tell you my one who I thought should have got it. I threw it at Stu earlier on. If you can think of 3 players, in your opinion, should have got an England cap that played for West Ham that didn't. But one of mine, in the end, he went, I'm not going no more. He travelled for quite a while as the 3rd choice goalkeeper behind Ray Clements and Peter Shellman, was Phil Parkes. The first time I see Phil Parkes in goal at West Ham, now we had them silly goals that, I mean, I'd love someone to tell me actually how wide they was at the back. Because when you looked, they never looked wide enough, did they? And if you was up the other end, sometimes the ball hit the net and come back out over the line. And you didn't even know if it was a goal, did you?
It was the way the nets were done, though.
Massive in that goal.
Yeah, but see, these days, you got your posts, and then you got struts that come off. Like they sort of like turn the goal into a box. Whereas back in the day, it just come down like a fucking tent side. You know, that you didn't, you know, the goals were built totally different. And that's why they looked like they did, you know. But
yeah, but ours was so close. It only looked about that wide, didn't they? I mean, I can't remember exactly. Yeah. They did not look wide enough. But Phil Parkes went to England in the end and says, listen, I've got a family, I've got kids. Are you going to play me? Yes or no? And they went, unless Shilton and Clements get injured, because they started alternating them. Do you remember? Yeah, they started playing Clements for a game and then Shilton for a game, who holds the record for England caps, by the way, Peter Shilton. And he went, if you're not going to play me, tell me I'm not travelling anymore. I'm not travelling all around the globe if you ain't going to play me. And Phil Parkes retired from international football. And I'll tell you should do it now, because I don't think he's got a fair crack at the whip. There's been Jared Bowen.
Yeah.
I think Jared Bowen, are you telling me he's any worse than Madueke or Saka? Come on, mate. And even on the other side, you know what I think of Rashford? Rashford is a bit of a Kudus syndrome. He wants to cut in and he wants to shoot. Then he's not going to cross the ball. Not that we've got anyone there. And Anthony Gordon, he's been played in the wrong way. But I think Jared Bowen should have gone. Martin, you got anyone who you thought should have got a cap who didn't?
Not really. I agree with what you say about Parksy. But, you know, I mean, I've said to you before, you know, when I think about my all-time West Ham 11, Ian Bishop was in it. And I thought he was a fantastic, not only was he like a general in midfield, but he had a creativity about him as well. And how he didn't get a cap, I don't know. Well, I do know it's because he played for West Ham. So, and obviously, as Stu said, Julian Diggs. And, you know, I mean, if you're talking more modern day, Mark Noble, who a lot of people say he was very crab-like, side to side, passing backwards. But, you know, for me, he got forward, he scored goals. I can't see how he didn't get a cap, at least. You know, he deserved to, you know, to get out there on the big stage and show what he's got.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you look at our youth team that year, we got to the final when we lost to Liverpool. I think Owen got an hat-trick over at our ground, and then I think we beat them up there. But when we had Carrick, Joe Cole, Rio, Frank Lampard, for me, I know like a lot of people don't like him, Frank Lampard Jr., should we say. But when he played for West Ham, he went on to have a fantastic England career. But near the end of his career at West Ham, he looked about 2 stone overweight, didn't he? And then when he went to Chelsea, suddenly he slimmed down. I've got a question for you here, boys. We had a player, right, that played for West Ham. He's talking about fullbacks now. He was the first person when Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea. He was the first player he bought for Chelsea, and apparently he had a bit of info in it. And he went on to play Chelsea, left us for $6 million, by the way. And He was a great player. Come through the great Tony Carr system, who had 8 players that went through the Tony Carr. We called him the godfather of the academy, by the way, Tony Carr. And he had 8 players in the 2010 World Cup that come through the Tony Carr Academy. Any ideas who that fullback was that Chelsea bought off us for $6 million? He got 5 caps for us while he was there.
Glenn Johnson.
It was Glenn Johnson, yeah. Now, he was another great player,
Well
wasn't
done,
he?
Pup.
Fucking love
Yeah.
that kid. Glenn Johnson, yeah. Chelsea went on to Liverpool, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a great career. And like he was quite fast, weren't he? You know what I mean? Trevor Sinclair, another one when he played for us. Do you know? I mean, I had Trevor Sinclair in my all-time 11. I thought he was.
Well, if you
Paolo Di Canio said he was the best player he ever played with.
well, it was the cross from Trevor Sinclair that set the Canio up for that fucking volley that time. That goal he scored against Wimbledon, was it? Yeah, Wimbledon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are right. I'll tell you, you know, there's one player you just wish never played for England. We talk about we want players that should have played for England. But if there's one I wish that didn't, who got injured, you know, away with England, was Dean Ashton, weren't it? What a travesty that was, and his career was ruined, weren't it? We never got to see the best of him, did we?
No, and it happened training as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that man could have went on to have he could have been a world beater. That lad. I mean, he was fantastic. I love watching him. He was brilliant. And
I mean, to be fair, I think if he hadn't got injured, I don't think he would have stayed with West Ham for too long. I mean, if he hadn't been injured, I think he would have put himself so much in the shop window that somebody would have come in. And who was in charge then? Was it Brown? Browns? The Browns had us owned us then. And I think they would have sold him at a drop of hat if the right money had come in, which it would have done if he hadn't have got that injury. Because I think, as Pup said, he would have been a world beater, Ashton. And
I agree. I mean, I just thought he could have had everything.
The sad thing about it all is that because of that injury, none of us got to saw that. You know, regardless of whatever. You know, I mean, when we look at Bowen at the moment, there's talk about whether he's staying or going. You know, if he went on and he goes to Aston Villa, I'm going to appreciate him for what he's done. Now, if Ashton had managed to get 3 or 4 seasons with us, banged in a load of goals, and then moved off, I doubt there'll be a fan that wouldn't wish him well if he went on to better things. It's just a shame none of us got to see that. It's really, really sad for him.
Martin, any player that's played for us that goes, I always follow their career. I always remember, right, when Bilic was our manager and Payet was playing for us, and he scored a goal for France. And do you remember that they went on to Bilic he was doing the talking with Ian Wright and someone else, and he was crawling across the desk. And half time they said to him, "Do you think this was a penalty?" He went, "I don't care. I couldn't care less. Let's talk about Payet's goal." And they went, "But you're here to analyse things." He went, "I don't want to talk about none of that rubbish. I want to talk about Payet's goal." Do you remember it, Stu?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
he brought him on at the time. Another player, guys, that I think England ruined him for his own fault. It wasn't his fault that the ball bounced in front of him. But at the time, Sven-Goran Eriksson, before the World Cup even started, he went, "He's my goalkeeper." All the newspapers were surmising who it would be, and none of them said this bloke. And he went, "I know it's going to be." And he was really playing well for us at the time. The ball bounced in front of him, didn't it? Went underneath him during the World Cup. He was never ever the same for us after that, Rob Green, was he, Stu?
No. But then it just reminded me of Mervyn Day. The same thing happened to him. He had that one fuck up, and he just lost all his confidence. And I think that's what happened to Rob Green. Everybody started getting on his back, started getting on his case, you know, and social media was about then, not like it is now, but he just got so much grief, Greeny. I just think he lost all his confidence, and he never got it back. I thought
he was brilliant, Martin. Didn't you think Rob Green was brilliant?
Yeah, rated him. You know, snapped him up from Norwich. You know, that was a really good signing.
One of the best shot stoppers in the league, I thought at the time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I do think that we struggle at the moment. You know, obviously we've had all this crap around the club recently, innit, with what's gone on with Sullivan. We don't know it. But if we could go back to a prime Deck, and I know some people don't like that, I think Declan Rice. Now, for the England team, I think he should play him as a sitting CDM. I don't think the England team at the moment is a good defence. You've gone on about the fullback. But I'll tell you, Declan Rice, when he used to cover, the amount of times he covered Aaron Cresswell, especially being the last man down the left, I think he was brilliant. And I think Tuchel to say to him, listen, we're coming to the busy part now. We don't want to get the penalties, you know what I mean? I want you to sit there as a sitting D. I actually think, without a shadow of a doubt, that is his best position. I know he wants to go up and take corners for whatever reason. He does it for Arsenal. I know he's got a good shot on him. But for me, if I was Tuchel, I would sit him as a sitting CDM. Where would you play him, Martin?
I'd have him going forward more. I think Elliot Anderson is doing a fantastic job. It's not the centre of our midfield that's an issue at the moment. I don't really think that we need to have two central defensive midfielders in there. Rice and Bellingham, they need to be getting box to box, and Rice has got it in his locker to be able to be creative, to get in there. He can score a goal. We've seen it. So if Elliot Anderson can do the business defensive wise, why not have Deck getting forward and doing what he does best? I'm not saying.
Do you think he's worth 116 million, Martin? City have just paid for him, Elliot Anderson.
No, of course he fucking ain't. I don't think he's better player than Rice. I think regardless of whether it's in a more progressive role or whether it's in a central defensive midfielder role, Rice would be better in both positions. But I think he's done a lot better since he left Newcastle. We had the opportunity to pick him up, didn't we? But that didn't happen. So fair play to the lad. He's got his big money move and that. Is he better than Declan? Not in my opinion.
Joe, where would you play Deck?
Yeah, see, that's a hard one. Because I would have been like you, CDM, but then listening to Martin, he's sort of like, yeah, I can understand that. Why would you have two CDMs? As much a midfield is not really our problem. The defence is the problem, full stop, to be fair. And we need people that are going to get forward and score goals. I mean, the games I've watched so far, to be honest, have been fucking dog poo. They really have. And that's polite for me. It is. I don't think we've played to our potential at all. Not one of them players have played to their potential. We should be slaughtering like Ghana, Paraguay. We shouldn't be just scraping a draw with Ghana. And, well, technically, we should have been a goalkeeper down because, in my eyes, Pickford should have been sent off for when he come rushing out like that outside the box and took out that Ghanaian player. I think he should have been sent off, Pickford. But we shouldn't be in that situation in the first place. We should be 3 or 4 up in the first half against teams like that. We should not be drawing with one and scraping a 2-0 win at the fucking last knockings. And the only reason we beat Croatia like we did is because we were playing a team of pensioners. They're not. I mean, they're still young men, because of our age. But I mean, they're half my fucking age. But they're, why the fuck? What's it, Jordan Henderson? What the fuck's he doing out there? Do you know what I mean? It just beggars belief, mate. I mean, I don't like the lad, but I would have had Palmer over Henderson any day of the week.
Yeah, but the thing is, we need people that can pick a lock. We need people that are creative. Morgan Gibbs White.
Yeah, should have gone.
How the hell he didn't get a call up, I don't know. And when Stu's right about our back line, defensively we're not great. We've already talked about the left back situation. I didn't even think about the right back situation until Stu said about the defence. You got Reece James, who's injured more often than not for Chelsea, and since he's been injured, you've been having players coming in at right back that are not right backs.
Yeah.
I mean, Konsa got injured, didn't he, in the last game? Had to come off. Where's why didn't Trent get called up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's more attacking, isn't he?
Yeah.
And
as for our wingers, you've got like, I'll keep on going to say Flash Gordon. There's fuck all flash about him. He's been useless. Rashford, don't rate him. And then on the other side, you've got Saka, who I think's burnt out. I think he's had a ridiculously long season and he's just not got it. And that other clown,
Madueke.
Yeah. I mean, Christ almighty. I mean, it just beggars belief. I mean, I think even Foden out on the left would have done a better job than the guys that they've got out there at the moment. Said about Gibbs White, obviously Stu mentioned, who's the other central midfielder you said about? Cole Palmer, didn't you?
Cole Palmer.
You know, people that are creative, people that can cause a problem. I don't see that with us at the moment.
They can both of them can score goals, Palmer and White.
That are in this competition. I mean, the amount of energy that you see in these teams and the press and like the energy getting forward and stuff. I honestly think we're going to struggle tonight.
Yeah,
I think we're going to struggle, and if we do go through by some luck, Christ,
I think we will. I think we'll win, but I think it'll be just like Paraguay. I think it'll be play nice and calm, just keep defensive, keep it nice and tight. Let's get to half time at 0-0. Let the second half to come out a bit stronger in the second half and try and make it, and then score the goals near the end.
That's the thing that boils my piss, though.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen tonight as well.
Because there is no way you should have a team like Ghana and Panama 0-0 at half time against Panama. Really? What? Have a word with yourselves.
Paraguay.
What the hell is going on now?
They beat the Dutch, Martin. They've knocked the Dutch out, Panama.
No, that was Paraguay, mate.
Paraguay,
they knocked them out.
Paraguay, we played, wasn't it?
Yeah, Paraguay, we played.
Yeah.
No, Panama, we played.
The problem is now, Martin, it's knockout football, and you don't get like the Germans. It got down to a penalty. Anything happens in penalties. Do you know what I mean? What we needed is
Arsenal found out in the Champions League.
Who was it who took our 5 when we got through in the cup before we lost to Leeds in the 70s? I mean, they were 5 of the greatest penalties. I think Mav took one, Souček took one, didn't he?
Wilson,
top corner. Yeah, they were brilliant. The problem we've got at the moment, Martin, is I've said all along, Harry Kane, for me, he's a most fantastic footballer. I think he's so underrated, not just goal scorer, as a footballer. He's coming too deep. He's getting the ball, he's spraying it wide. The fullbacks are not marching on. So the people down the wing, they can't fly down the wing and then cross it because we've got no one in the box. All we're waiting for is Jude Bellingham to come late. And the fullbacks ain't going on and making up the space like Pablo and Tati did, by the way, Stu, for West Ham. And that's why Jared started playing better and Somerville had that, purple patch. But if you're not going to get the fullbacks flying past our wingers, it's going to make space, and then you can either cut in or give that ball. We're not. And the wingers who we've got, they can't cross the ball because there's no one there. Harry Kane's playing too deep. He's coming to get the ball and he's spraying it around. But if that's the way he wants to play and that's the system, and if we score goals, then, we need someone arriving late. And that's
he used to do that with Spurs as well when he was at Spurs, Kane. He always used to drop deep.
Yeah, but look how good he made Son look. What has Son done since him and Kane? He went to Bayern, didn't he? And I thought that he pulled his pants down Levy, but what did I know? Over 50 goals this season for Harry Kane. Yeah. He's got to stay fit. The better opposition we play, the more man-marked Harry Kane will be.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
I've been calling out like the first 2 games, bring fucking Watkins on. We need somebody that can hold the ball up and do the Cruyff turn and, and get in there. I've been crying out for him. And fuck me, he brought him on the other night on the 85th minute. What the fuck is that? Bring him on earlier. Play him with Harry Kane. You know what I mean? Like the other night, Rashford, like you were saying about Rashford, he got the ball. He's gone through a couple. He's on the outside. And the angle's getting shorter and short. And he has to take a fucking shot. But if he'd squared the ball, Watkins was standing on the penalty spot, totally unmarked. All Rashford had to do was square the ball, and there's Watkins. He's been on minute, 2 minutes, and he scored a fucking goal because he was in the right place.
No, I agree. I agree. Give us a prediction then, boys.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to say it'll be 2-0, but it's not going to be till late in the second half. 2-0 England.
Martin?
I think we're going to go out.
I think it's going to go. Depends. I think Stu hit the nail on the head with Ollie Watkins. Bring him on. Ollie Watkins wants the ball played to feet, so as he can turn. And if you're taking one, you can take two defenders out with that. And I think it's a great shout.
Ivan Toney's out there, isn't he? Ivan Toney. Yeah,
mate,
right.
But look what he's been playing against, Stu. Look at the quality he's played for the last season. He's been playing in that league over there in Saudi. He ain't been playing against the quality defenders that we've got now. At least week in, week out.
I know
he
that,
has.
I think if you're a quality player, you'll shine through no matter what.
He could have played a 4-4-2 against Panama, and he could have had Toney and Kane up front.
Yeah. I wouldn't put Toney on in front of Watkins. No way in a million years.
It could have been anyone with bloody Kane up front. The point is, it's fucking Panama. Yeah. It's not France, is it? Yeah. Why are we only playing with one up top? We want to score goals, and I don't think that we're doing that.
No, we're not. It's because, and we've seen it. Fucking how many years have we been watching this fucking defensive football? And we've been doing nothing but moan about it. And now we're watching it with fucking England again. Yeah. Same type of manager. Fucking defensive manager. Not an attacking. That's why I said Klopp. I wouldn't have minded Klopp being the England manager because he knows how to fucking get forward and score a fucking goal to set up an attacking team. And I don't think Tuchel does. Tuchel likes to play defensive football and get a goal on the break. That's
Tuchel. Yeah, I agree. What we need, bruv, is Jeff Hurst, Martin Peters, and Bobby Moore at the back.
Well, I said to Darren and Jim the other night when we was watching the game, I said, look, it don't matter because Darren likes a little cheeky bet, you know what I mean? I said, mate, there's no point betting on England. I said, because until we got 3 West Ham players in that team, we ain't going to do fucking shit. So, and I'm 3 West Ham players, that's all it'll take, and we'll win a World Cup. Easy.
Wait, so I've got a question for you here. You know the trophy where they're holding the World Cup down near the ground, isn't it? Down near Upton Park, weren't it? Yeah. Of Hursty, Peters, and Morley. Do you think that should be moved to the London Stadium?
Well, no, I don't think so because where it is, it's like a legacy, isn't it, for where we were. In that part of East London, in East Ham, you know what I mean? I think I quite like it. They should have something, but no, I quite like it where it is. Yeah,
Martin.
No, I think it should stay where it is, just for the sole reason that's where our home is.
Yep, exactly. And I hope you got fucking something on, mate, because I keep seeing your bare leg, and I don't want you standing up and seeing that fucking dangling down. I ain't eaten yet.
It's hot. I've got shorts on.
So you say.
I disagree with you both, boys. I would like it moved to the stadium because I think when the kids come, they'll be going, who's that? Who's that? What's that? What's that? Sadly, I don't think, I told you about them dogs. I do apologise. Guys, we do want to do something on this channel, which I was speaking to Stu about earlier on. We had the Memorial Gardens at Upton Park, didn't we? One of my cousins got run over in Lanzarote, Michael Duggan. He had his ashes put there in a memorial plaque. If you was in the Memorial Gardens, or you just had, your dad was a fan, your mum was a fan who sadly passed away, and you'd like to come on the show and talk about when you went with your mum, your dad, your uncle, your brother. My best friend got killed over in Spain when a coach ran him over in 19 after we won the cup, believe it or not. Stu used to go with his son Robbie, you know what I mean, who sadly passed away. Next time we're here, we get Stu to come on and talk about his time when he used to take Robbie football. But if you had any ashes in the Memorial Garden, or someone who was just a West Ham fan that passed away who you used to go to game with, please write in the comments and please come on and bring us some memories. Bring us some memories of when you used to go. Gentlemen, it's been a great game. I know Stu wants to go because he's got a kebab, a beer, and an England game waiting. Stu, can you take us out? Great show, gentlemen. Trevor Brooking, my best England player ever. Who was yours, Stu?
Best England player ever.
You've got to think it's during your time.
During my time.
That played for West Ham.
Yeah, it's got to be a West Ham. Yeah, Brooking for me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be Brooking.
Yours, Martin?
Yeah, it's probably going to be Brooking, but I was more of a Devo fan.
He just didn't make it. Right. Boys, take us out. Great comment. Great show. Have a great fucking night. Let's hope we can win. I think it'll be pens, and then it's the lottery, isn't it? Take us out, Stu.
Take care. Stay safe. Stay lucky, my friends. Come on, you irons.